Hey, thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Ryan Backman, founder and executive director of Project Cold Case. Joining me is Detective Jen Spears, also the president of SAHIA, the Southeastern Homicide Investigators Association. Thanks for joining me, Jen.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
Yeah. How are things going?
Going good. Waiting for to get back to some type of normalcy.
I know. Uh, we're gonna pull the name here in just a few minutes. I want to give people some time to start watching, so they can see if they're the big winner. For those of you that are just tuning in or don't know what's going on, Project Cold Case, SAHIA, Innovative Forensic DNA, and DNA Labs International all partnered this week for National DNA Day and pooled our resources to give away a free genetic genealogy case package and registration to the SAHIA conference in Albuquerque in November. So today we had law enforcement submit their agency to enter to win that genetic genealogy package. We're going to draw that name tonight, and hopefully that's going to result in somebody solving a cold case. There's some restrictions with it. Some things. What we want to do is we want to find a viable case. One of the reasons I asked Detective Spears to join me tonight was that she has used this technology, genetic genealogy, to resolve a couple of cases, and so she knows a little bit about it, and figured we could, maybe answer a few questions and kind of let people know that like those I don't want to call them restrictions, but kind of requirements that we're looking for. Like all that is trying to find the most viable case within that agency. So we didn't really ask agencies to like go through their cold cases and find a case to submit to us, although some of them did, which was fine too. We asked them to just submit their agency, to the drawing. And then what we hope we can do is between Detective Spears, between Innovative Forensic DNA and DNA Labs, kind of a collaboration to assist in finding the case within that agency that has the highest likelihood of being useful and being resolved. Jen, I don't want to get, your cases are still going through the judicial process. So there's literally there's stuff we can't talk about. We can't get into specifics, but you have used genealogy, this new fantastic tool, to resolve two cases that were both over 30 years old, right?
Correct.
So, I mean, kind of the benefit. I mean, talk about as a detective, like the benefit of having this tool in your arsenal. I mean, those cases were not, they were not going anywhere at the time before genetic genealogy was an investigative tool, right?
One of these cases I worked for so long and feel like we overturned every stone that we potentially could overturn and just kind of hit a wall. So I can honestly say that without genetic genealogy, we wouldn't have solved one of these cases. And it's a technique that is able to breathe new life into some of these cases. And as you can see with all the media attention this has gotten over the last couple of years, it's apparent. I mean, it's obvious that this is working and it's helping detectives solve cases around the country. And this opportunity that they have with all of us combined together to hopefully give somebody this package is a great opportunity in the sense of some agencies may not be able to pay for the package. So this gives them an opportunity to still use the technique and attempt to solve a case and give some justice to the victim without having to put the agency at
no financial burden.
Their pockets.
No financial burden to the agency. So
Right.
that's a big thing. And then SAHIA also threw in a registration to this year's conference, and kind of to just talk a little bit. That's the registration. There's a registration fee to attend. the SAHIA conference. It's open to law enforcement all over the country, but law enforcement exclusive. But your agency would still need to pay for, travel expenses. But as far as your registration, that would be comped. So the winner that we're about to draw now, and I brought my 5-year-old. Oh, you okay? Brought my 5-year-old daughter up.
Hopefully that's not the coronavirus.
Yeah. No, we will not be sending this through the mail, so she won't cough on anything. So we got all the agencies divvied up in here. And can you reach in there? I wanted everybody to see that it was legit. So you step into the camera, man. Just one. She's ready to send everybody. All right. Thank you. You can go back downstairs now. Megan Darling, Pensacola Police Department. So yeah. So
congrats, Megan.
Do you know that name, Jen? Is that somebody that's attended before?
He's a SAHIA attendee as well.
Okay.
In the past.
Okay, I'll tell you later. My daughter's very, very interested to know what she just pulled, like what the person won, but he's a little young to understand. So, we will, Megan, we'll be sending out an email to you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to. Hi, there's my son too. I mean, it's a. All right, so Megan, I'll be sending out an email to you that will also include Detective Spears, Innovative Forensics contact, and DNA Labs International's contact, so that you can work with them to get your free registration and your genetic genealogy package. And Innovative Forensic DNA and DNA Labs International will work with you. Hopefully on a case that brings the highest probability for a resolution. And for those of you that were watching tonight and watching us today that weren't selected, just keep an eye on that email, because some of our partners have been toying with the idea of throwing out some consolation prizes. So just because you didn't get the grand prize package of genealogy, lab testing, and SAHIA registration, doesn't mean that you won't get an email with a nice little surprise in there. So be on the lookout for that. Obviously, we're gonna keep track of this and let everybody know as this progresses. If it reaches a good resolution, we'll let everybody know. I was going to say something else. I forgot. The kid's in the background still, but just that we hope to be able to do this moving forward every year for DNA Day. Obviously we have to all be in a position, Project Gold Case, SAHIA, Innovative, and DNA Labs to be able to provide those services that each of us offered this year. But if we are in those positions again moving forward, we'd like to do it. And we do recognize that we kind of came at you fast this year. We announced this, I think, on Thursday or Friday, and we're doing the drawing today. So next year, we've already talked about, we'll give everybody a little more time. We know there were some agencies that were running it up the chain of command and had not heard back in time, which also was another reason why we tried not to get too case specific, so that we thought it might be easier to get approval to just throw your name in the hat, and we'll worry about the case later. But Jen, I do want to take a little bit of an opportunity to talk about the conference, just in the means that I know we've got some detectives watching right now. I know there's a number of law enforcement officers that are out there that may have not been to one of our conferences, and so this is this the 5th year?
Yes, this will be the 5th one.
This is the 5th conference. You've been Jacksonville, Dallas, Baton Rouge, Norfolk, and it'll be Albuquerque this year. You've been relentless on getting speakers and presentations together. So I think most of that is pretty much set. The conference isn't until November, so we're, fingers crossed, and prayer said that by November, things will be back in a place where, traveling for a conference is not a big concern. I know I have a conference I'm speaking at in July that has not been canceled yet, and we're starting to roll out some going back to work stuffs in Florida. So hopefully we're going to find out pretty quick what is going on. Let's see. I want to. Jen, do you have anything you want to add about the conference or about genealogy?
I would just, like to say it is open to law enforcement around the country. I know it's called the Southeastern Homicide Investigator Association. That does not mean only the Southeastern law enforcement is allowed to attend. Last year we had 35 states and Canada attend. So this is usually the norm each year that we get at least 30 states. So countries as well. I see someone popped up from Scotland. We also, anybody from any law enforcement, crime scene, anyone with the prosecutors or district attorney's office, their investigators, as well as medical examiners, coroners, and their investigators from anywhere around the world is welcome to attend. We put on a fantastic conference. We get some of the top speakers, as well as the high profile controversial cases we present, as well as whatever new technology is out there. We want to give that to you guys as a tool to use. So we want to get it out there. So it is a Monday through Friday conference. And again, this year it's November 9th through the 13th in Albuquerque. If you sign up before the end of August, you do get a $50 discount to register. So that's what I would like to add, is that, just those additional details, that it is open up to anybody in the field around the country, around the world.
Let me, I want you to see this comment here. We're going to pull up. Jen says, NECMEC and Virginia is checking my DNA with a Jane Doe in Canada. How long does the process take to do that? And obviously things with the virus are slow now, but I thought like that was important. I mean, obviously every single one of these is different. And,
right.
Depending on, what results you get back at least in the genealogy in that tree, you could have to knock on 2 doors or 200 doors, and so obviously, that takes time. So it's really hard to pinpoint how long, but in your experience, what do you expect when you're thinking these things through? It's a few months, right? I mean,
well, if it's a direct comparison that they're looking to do, as far as comparing like a family DNA to some unidentified remains in Canada, if that's what they're doing, I actually did one last year, and they ended up coming back telling me I had to have additional family reference samples. So I actually needed to get a siblings sample from my missing person, and so that whole process. Having to get the additional DNA did take about 9 months. So it all varies, Ryan, depending on if it is a direct comparison and what family reference sample that they're starting with. I started with a daughter and then ended up having to get a sister and a brother of my missing person. If it is a genealogy case, that is going to be completely dependent upon where you're starting on, like where you're starting on the chart with the genealogist, as to how long that could potentially take.
Jen and I promised Jen we would not get technical on genealogy, because quite honestly, we're both a little bit worried about speaking in too technical terms and misspeaking. But I always the most interesting thing I found in the few genealogy trainings I've sat through is there's actually a unit of measurement to determine how closely related, you are to someone else. And it's called a centimorgan. So, when they're doing these genealogy and they're building these family trees, when they test the suspect's DNA, they're looking for those centimorgans and what that number is. And the lower that number is, the further away they are in relation, like third cousins or whatever, so the high numbers are, the highest numbers are parent, children, and of course siblings have a high number, and so forth. But that was always the thing to me that was like, I had no idea that there was actually a unit of measurement for how closely related somebody is. And again, I think Lisa might have been talking about, testing her DNA with a Jane Doe to see, like you said, Jen, if it's a one-to-one family member. In the genealogy world for forensics, they would be looking at just whoever that random person is that matches the sample you submitted and try to figure out how closely or distantly related they are. Lisa just said, yeah, my sister has been missing since 1974. So I wonder, was NamUs involved at all in that? I mean, it sounds like that's probably where this may have came through, that you're able to identify somebody that, could be your sister. So yeah, we, with genealogy, it's a great tool for identifying unidentified, remains. Okay, yeah, she says yes, but what we use it, and what you used it for, Jen, was in those situations was identifying suspects, not the victims. Right. We've done both. We've helped out with both. All of our agencies and organizations have worked to do both of those things. In the state of Florida, where our state lab does some genealogy, they won't do unidentified remains, at least not yet. So, so you have to go to a private lab for those things. And NamUs does, they do amazing work with University of North Texas and National Center for Missing Exploited Children and those kinds of things. They all work real close together to help identify those remains. Lisa, keep us in the loop on what you find out. It's that's a tough place to be. I'm sure you want answers, but I'm sure you also want your sister to be alive. So know that we're thinking about you, and hopefully you can keep us in the loop on how those test results turn out. Jen, what you got for us? Anything else?
No, I mean, I just want to reiterate again that this, even if, it's a detective that hasn't won this contest or that's watching, or believe it or not, a lot of people haven't even heard of this technique, but look into it, use it. I'm always here to help with any questions, or if detective goes through this or Megan goes through this process and needs assistance in just helping just to get started on the process once she gets the information to start rolling on the family tree chart.
Yeah,
I'm here for that. If anybody has any questions, I'm here for that. But the process works, and in some cases, it's the last and only opportunity some victims may have for their cases to be resolved. So initially, at first, I was a little hesitant to it until I started seeing it work, and obviously, it does work.
One of the things that I've noticed, and reading all these articles about these cases that were solved, like one of my first questions anytime I talk to an investigator that uses genealogy is, was this person in the case file? Did they show up as a suspect at the time? Did they show up as a witness? Did they show up, as a neighbor? And it's I mean, I don't know the numbers and what, if it's a majority, but it is, I have heard a lot of people say, like, this person did not show up in our file. Like, this was not a person of interest. This was not somebody that we had identified. And, we always knew they did it. We just didn't have the evidence. It's I'm sure that happens. But these genealogy cases are really like identifying suspects that were not on the radar in some cases. And then what we've also seen them do is link cases. So because somebody may have done something in another state, in another city, and we're identifying them now, that's starting to have like a domino effect on how many, violent crimes they were involved in.
Yeah.
So, You can go to the SAHIA website, sahia.org. You can go, Innovative Forensic DNA. I think they've got a new website that's being launched later this week. But they were a partner. They're going to be the ones that handle the genealogy side of this. They've got a lot of experience. This is a somewhat new technology for criminal investigations, but this is not a new technology that people that haven't been doing it for a long time usually try and identify parents of adopted children or unknown paternities, those kinds of things. There's a whole world of genealogists out there that have been doing this for a long time and have experience with it. And Innovative Forensics is made up of those. So we're real excited to partner with them. And then obviously DNA Labs International is a Florida-based private forensic lab. They do a lot of stuff for agencies all across the country, but especially in Florida because it's super easy to just drive evidence there. So they partnered with it as well. So we really appreciate everybody's support in this and trying to solve a case in this kind of somewhat unique way, to raffle off a genealogy package. So with that being said, I don't really think there's much more we need to hit on. You're able to reach out to any of us through our websites. If you have, specific questions, we can get those answered. And again, congratulations to Megan Darling. We'll shoot you out an email tonight with the contact information of everybody so you can collect your prizes. And then for those of you that didn't win the DNA Day package, don't worry. You can still go to SAHIA, just get your agency to pay for it, and you can still do genealogy. So keep an eye on your email. You may even get a little consolation prize, something that one of the companies that partnered here wants to help out with. And again, we'll try to do this again. We'll try to do it again next year. If not before, but thanks everybody for participating. We had agencies from Florida, Louisiana, North Carolina, Texas, Denver, Alaska. I mean, we had a lot of agencies reach out and recognize the value of this little drawing. And so we're super excited to be able to host this. And next year we'll give everybody a little bit more time to get their chain of command on board. And hopefully by then also we'll have a positive result to be able to look back on and say, last year when we did this, this is what happened. So Jen, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. Stay safe, stay healthy. And we will, I'll be talking to you probably tomorrow or so. So we always got things to do. So thanks everybody for joining us. I'm going to shut it down now, and we'll be back next week. Once Detective Spears' cases have been through the judicial process, we're going to certainly have her back on to talk about details in those cases and give some insight into that and how the families were impacted and kind of why some of the things were done the way they were and why sometimes families have a lot of questions, a lot of good questions, and investigators and detectives, a lot of times they have good answers. They just can't give them to you, right, when you ask them. So when that time does come, we'll be able to sit down and ask those questions and get those answers. And then I think it'll shed a little bit of light on why things kind of evolve the way they do. So
and again, Ryan, in the meantime, any detectives anywhere that need assistance going through the process from the law enforcement side or just need advice, I'm willing 100% to help any of them out.
Well, thank you. I know you have been an ear for a lot of them. They've called with a lot of questions. So you kind of you didn't wait around to see how the technology worked. You kind of jumped on it and tried it out first and have had good results. And so now you have a lot of knowledge to pass on. So thanks for all you do. Again, stay safe. And
you as well.
All right. I'll see you soon, Jen. Thanks everybody for watching.